Each candidate will be invited to make a 90-second opening statement. Answers to all questions will be limited to 45 seconds. Furthermore, each candidate will have 3 opportunities to use 45-second rebuttals and will signal his or her desire to do so using a red paddle.
To start this debate with her opening statement.
And finally, Mr. Maxime Bernier.
Hello. I'm Maxime Bernier, MP from Beauce and proud father of 2 daughters, Charlotte and Megan. I'm a conservative who believes in individual freedom and personal responsibility. And actually, here in Alberta, you call me the Albertan from Quebec, and I'm very proud of that. And because I speak like you about economic freedom, personal responsibility, capitalism, but sorry about that, with a French accent. And I want to be the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada because we need to phase out Justin Trudeau, and we need to do that when we are speaking about our values, and that's what I want to do. Individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. And I'm the only candidate who want to reform the equalization formula because it is not fair. It is not fair, and I have the courage to say it because we must have the courage of our conviction. And I want to do that. I want to give an incentive to other provinces, like my own province in Quebec, to develop their natural resources. And I want to have a formula that would be fair for every Canadian. I want also to abolish corporate welfare, and we will do that together if we believe in our principle. Thank you. Merci.
We'll now start with our first question of the evening from the theme of crime and safety. Lisa Raitt, you'll answer first, and I'll call on candidates individually in the order from my left to right, according to positions. As a reminder, you will have 45 seconds to fully answer. There is a clock next to me, and I will give you signals as your time winds down. Due to the amount of candidates we have, the 45-second timing will be strict.
We will begin with our first question of the evening related to crime and safety. Lisa Raitt, you will be the first to answer, and after that I will invite each individual candidate in the order from left to right to respond, based on their position. A little reminder, you will have 45 seconds to give a full answer. I will be timing you and will give you a signal as your time winds down. Because of the large number of candidates, the 45-second limit will be strictly enforced.
Lisa Raitt, question 1, première question. According to information from Statistics Canada, Alberta has seen a significant spike in crime. Some have attributed this to a struggling economy, especially with the decline in the oil and gas sector. If elected leader and eventually Prime Minister, what steps would you take to turn these glaring statistics around, most notably here in Alberta?
Based on information from Statistics Canada, the province of Alberta is facing a spike in crime. Some have attributed that situation to a struggling economy, particularly with the decline in the oil and gas sector. If you are elected leader and Prime Minister, what measures would you put in place to turn these statistics around right here in Alberta?
Maxime Bernier.
So, speaking about taxes, I don't agree with my friend Michael on that. And as you know, I don't like taxes. I don't like big fat government. So yes, I'm against a carbon tax. And I think we won't be competitive. And you know here in Alberta what's happening when we are imposing a tax like that. So the way to deal with the new President Trump is to not having a carbon tax first, but also to lower our capital gain, to lower our capital to abolish a capital gains tax in Canada, and I'm the only one who wants to do that. So no more capital gains tax. That will help us to have more investment in our country, would be more productive, and the private sector would create wealth and job in this country. I think that's the solution for being more effective.
And now we'll continue with the responses to our first question. Finally, finalement, on va continuer avec
we will continue with the responses to the first question.
Maxime Bernier.
Merci. On ne peut pas avoir plus de liberté et de prospérité si on n'a pas de sécurité. Et c'est pour ça que nous tous, les conservateurs, on est d'accord qu'il faut avoir des lois sévères, des lois qui vont punir les crimes sévères, et surtout, lorsque quelqu'un a une sentence à vie, il doit pouvoir purger cette sentence à vie-là. So what I want to do, I want to give you more freedom. I want to have a smaller government. But if you want to have more freedom and more prosperity, we need to have security. And for being sure to have security in this country, we must invest, and also we must pass strong legislation that, like life means life. I think it's very important to have a legislation like that to be sure that people understand when they're doing a crime, there's a strong penalty. Thank you.
Thank you all. Merci. Kelly Leach, question 2, deuxième question. As a government, Conservatives took great pride in our ability to both protect public safety and focus on punishing criminals, not law-abiding citizens. Many candidates with us tonight have advocated for reform to our firearm laws through legislation, regulation, or policy changes. What do you believe needs to be done with our firearm laws in Canada, and how does your position differentiate yourself from the other candidates on stage?
As a government, the Conservatives took great pride in our ability to protect public safety and punish criminals rather than law-abiding citizens. Many of the candidates here have advocated reform of our firearm laws, as well as regulations. And what do you think needs to be done with our Canadian laws on firearms? And how is your position any different from that of the other leadership candidates?
Okay, merci. I'm very proud of the gun policy that I have. It's simple, efficient, and no more discretion. You will need only a tape measure to be sure that you know in which category your gun will go. So no more discretion for the RCMP. They're in charge to enforce the law, not to make the law. So that will be us. And I'll put that in a legislation, so that will be us, politicians, who will make the law and will ask the RCMP and the policies to enforce the law. And if you go on my website, maximebernier.com, you'll see all that in details. And I was very pleased to have the support of a lot of gun owners across the country. So that's the best policy, and I'm proud of that.
Andrew. A rebuttal from Maxime Bernier, réplique de Maxime Bernier.
Yes, speaking about our values, I'm the only one on the stage who wants to have free markets everywhere. No exception. No exception for the dairy, poultry, and eggs producer. I'm the only one who wants to abolish supply management. I think that's important. If you believe in capitalism, there's no exception, and that will be good for Canadian consumers. And I'm proud to work with 35 million Canadians and not to work with a special interest group. There's only 19,000 people under supply management producer. So we must think big and think for Canadians, and like that, Canadians will save $2.6 billion every year, and I'm proud of that policy. If you believe in conservative principle, you must abolish the supply management cartel.
Thank you, Maxime. Okay, Stephen Blaney, question 3, troisième question. This comes from a retired Canadian Armed Forces member, Mike, from here in Alberta, and has to do with latest news out of the new administration in the U.S. as it relates to NATO commitments and President Trump pushing NATO members to contribute more. Mike writes, with Canada as a member of NATO, we fall short of our 2% GDP commitment on defense expenditures. What plans do you have for Canada to contribute our fair share to our NATO allies, specifically within the short term of becoming Prime Minister, then over the next 10 years?
This question comes from a retired armed forces member, Mike in Alberta, and deals with news coming out of the new U.S. administration with respect to NATO commitments. President Trump is pushing members to contribute more. With Canada as a member of NATO, we have not met our 2% GDP commitment to military defense. What plan would you propose so that Canada can pay its share to our allies in NATO after becoming Prime Minister and over the long term? In other words, over the next 10 years.
Maxime Bernier.
Our foreign policy must be based on the security and prosperity of Canadians. And we must fight, yes, we must fight with our allies against terrorism all across the world, but that will be costly. How are we going to do that? I want to achieve the goal. I want to spend 2% of the GDP on our defense. How are we going to do that? I have a plan. We just have to abolish corporate welfare. There's $5 billion there, and I'm the only candidate on the stage who wants to abolish corporate welfare. No more grant to Bombardier, no more grant to GMs. Let's be fair, and let's use the money for Canadians' defense. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Trost, question 4, quatrième question. Leslie from Manitoba writes in, we see on the news almost nightly about the ongoing illegal border crossings from the U.S. into Canada. In some places, these crossings are up over 300% from just a few years ago. The challenges this presents to our immigration system and protecting our border and border communities is significant. Educating those looking to cross the border about the risk this brings to not just their freedom, since they are immediately detained, but more importantly, to their safety and well-being is also considered hugely important. As opposition leader, what would you do to pressure the Liberals to start acting on this issue, and what would you advocate for? Leslie de Manitoba écrit, chaque soir dans les nouvelles, nous voyons le passage illégal de nos frontières canadiennes en provenance des États-Unis. À certains endroits, ces passages illégaux de nos frontières ont augmenté de plus de 300% par rapport à seulement quelques années passées.
Has increased greatly in recent years. This is a violation of our immigration system, and protection of border communities is very important. People wanting to cross the border illegally
puisqu'elles sont immédiatement détenues, mais plus important encore, à leur sécurité et bien-être, et également tout aussi important.
Which is just as important. As the leader of the opposition, what would you do to put pressure on the Liberals to get them to start taking action on this situation, and what would you propose?
Okay, Monsieur Maxime Bernier.
Je suis d'accord avec qu'il faut vraiment s'assurer que les frontières soient nos frontières et qu'on soit fiers de les protéger. And I agree with Jason Kenney when he said that we must renegotiate the safe third country agreement with our partner, the U.S. And I'm ready to do that. That's the solution. Because right now, they're illegal, they're coming to Canada, and it's unfair for all the other refugees, and we must change the system. But the way to do that, we cannot do that alone. We must sit with our partners and renegotiate that agreement. And like that, everybody will respect our border. That's what I intend to do, and I think it will be the real solution.
The next question will begin a new theme: the Conservative Party of Canada, its membership, its governance, and its future. La prochaine question portera sur
the next question will deal with a new theme: the Conservative Party of Canada, its members, its governance, and its future.
Rick Peterson, question 5, cinquième question. The Conservative Party is a grassroots managed party, one that relies on our membership to guide us. We also know that there is always room to improve. With that in mind, if elected leader of the Conservative Party, what changes would you advocate for, either within our structure, our processes, or policies? Le Parti conservateur est une partie gérée par les membres de la base, une partie qui dépend de ses membres collectifs. Nous savons qu'il y a toujours place à l'amélioration, à l'unité de cette constatation. Si vous êtes élu chef du Parti
conservateur, if elected leader of the Conservative Party, what changes would you introduce to the internal structure, the processes and policies of the party?
Maxime Bernier.
We need to listen to you, to the members. We didn't do that. You said at the last convention in Vancouver that you want to get rid of corporate welfare, and we still have big subsidies to big corporations. I'm the only one who wants to listen to you. And at the same time, some of our members, they want to have a discussion on life issues, and we must be open to that. I'm open to that. I said to my colleagues that yes, we'll have debates about life issues, and that will be your right as a member of parliament to table a bill on any subject, and we'll have a free vote. It will be a free vote for everybody. So let's have this debate together, because we have the right ideas, we have the bold ideas, and together we'll be able to win.
Merci, Monsieur Bernier. Next question for this theme, and the last question of the debate, is the following. Describe what your management style would be and how you would work with our party members, our elected National Council, and our parliamentary caucus if you were selected leader. La prochaine question sur ce thème est la dernière question du débat.
The next question will be the final question in this debate. Describe what your management style would be and how you would work with the members of our party, the members of the National Executive, and the members of our parliamentary caucus if you are elected
Deepak Oberoi, you are
leader.
First, 45 seconds, please. We have a rebuttal from Maxime Bernier and a réplique de Monsieur Bernier.
You know, I believe in entrepreneurs, and I don't believe in corporate welfare. I think it's why, if you don't believe in that, why you want to keep subsidies to Bombardier, GM. I want to abolish all that because I believe in entrepreneurs, and I think it would be the fair policy to take that money and lower taxes for every single entrepreneur. You are building this country, you are creating wealth and jobs, and we must help you, so I have the best plan for that. And like that, you will be able to do what you do best. You know, I'm in politics because I don't believe in the big fat government in Ottawa. I want a government that will respect the Constitution, that will respect taxpayers, and that will respect the entrepreneurs. So that's why we'll be able to build this country and be back in government with strong conservative values.
Maxime Bernier.
My leadership will be based on our values as conservative. And we conservative, we have faith in people. We have faith that you have the ability, the dignity, and the right to make your own decision and determine your own destiny. And I want to have a smaller government in Ottawa. For me, that is not a slogan. That is something that we believe in. And I have strong policies to be sure that we'll have a government in Ottawa that will respect the Constitution, respect taxpayers, and at the same time will give us more freedom and more prosperity. So the way to do that is to abolish the CRTC. I'm the only one who wants to abolish the CRTC in the telecom. Privatize Canada Post, privatize the airport, big reform, and we'll be successful.